Welcome to those of you who are able to join us live today. We're going to go ahead and get started. It's just after 10 o'clock on Wednesday. We're continuing with our social media mastery series. So hopefully you've been able to, at least on replay, catch some of what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. We did LinkedIn, phenomenal presentation by Scott Aaron. We did Instagram Reels with Jamie Blank. And then last week had Brian Clue with some really insightful stuff about Google and SEO and sort of blogging tips and how to really lean into all these like hidden gems of information you can get out of Google. So hopefully you've been able to capture some of that, learn from it. I'm really excited today to have Emily Conlon with us. Emily is the owner, operator, and creative mind extraordinaire of Edge Marketing Solutions. I've been working with Emily for, I guess I've known you a couple of years now, Emily. Gosh, the time has gone by fast. And have worked with her from a real estate standpoint. And we also have got to experience her expertise from the title side of things too. And she's here today to share with us her knowledge and sort of strategies for success when it comes to Facebook. So Emily, I'm happy to turn it over to you and have you share a little bit of your background and dive into what we need to know about Facebook.
Sure. Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So I am Emily Conlon. I'm the owner of Edge Marketing Solutions. We're a full service marketing agency based in Red Bank, New Jersey. We work with clients across the country and some even internationally. While we do work in over 20 different industries, we specialize in the real estate space. I grew up surrounded by real estate. So I'm super passionate about helping agents like yourself, teams, brokerages, achieve their marketing goals. We also don't just focus on social media, we focus on really everything in terms of marketing. So that allows us to really give our clients a perspective on how they can make their marketing cohesive across all platforms. So today, as Deanna mentioned, the focus is Facebook business. I'm sure, as some of you have experienced, Facebook is constantly changing, sometimes very frustrating, and annoying to deal with. So I would love for this to be an interactive presentation. I've highlighted some of the key things that I think are critical to go over, but feel free to ask questions throughout, and then we'll also have time at the end for questions as well. So I want to start off with one of the most common questions I get with our clients is, what's the difference if I just post to my personal Facebook page or if I have a business page? I get so much more engagement on my personal page. While I definitely understand that, there are significant benefits to focusing all of your energy on having a Facebook business page. First and foremost is the branding side of things. I'm not, usually as a real estate agent, depending on your brokerage, what you have currently set up from a branding perspective, you may have a personalized logo, a color palette you work with, and a true brand identity. It's really important that before you invest time, money, and energy into developing a brand online, that you have that established. So that really allows you to set yourself apart from all of the other agents out there. Does everyone have a solid brand, you would say, set up on social media? No. Okay.
Say from this group here, yeah, mixed bag, right?
Mixed
Just
bag.
from knowing a lot of the people here, and you've hit it spot on. I get that question a lot too. Why have both? Why manage both? So you're like hitting the nail on the head here.
Yeah, no, that's great. One of the Facebook business is the professional level of Facebook. So usually what I tell clients, and I'll touch on this at the end, the loop around is to share some content that you're posting on your business page to your personal page. The reason why, which there's a bunch of reasons why you need to have a Facebook business page, but one of the biggest reasons is from an analytics and ad campaign standpoint. You are super limited with what you can do with a personal page. And it really just is as simple as the Facebook personal pages are designed for personal connections. They're not meant for you to be posting about your business, get leads, get traction, and get exposure. Your growth is very limited, where with a business page, it's pretty endless. So we touched on professionalism and branding. I'd be happy to dive into more of that after the main parts of the presentation towards the question end, because that really is critical. But outside of having an established brand, you gain enhanced marketing tools. So like I just mentioned, Facebook business pages give you targeted advertising, analytics, and insights. You can create custom call to action buttons, and you integrate with third-party applications if you want to. So it's really interesting because as Facebook has evolved to Meta now, it's beyond complex what you can do. And sometimes it can be intimidating. If you do have any specific questions about your own marketing, I'm happy at the end of the call to give my contact information. My team can help walk you through specific things, but also, the internet is a great space to ask those questions. Like there's been very few times where I've had a question or a client has had a question and I haven't been able to point them to a specific link to explain how Meta operates and how to really maximize it. So transitioning from the enhanced marketing tools, you also get audience targeting and reach. So this kind of feeds into the ad campaign portion of things, where you can specifically target a particular demographic. Has anyone played around with running Facebook ads at all? And what was your experience been?
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. So Facebook ads are really tricky. I'm sure you've realized some weird things in terms of not selecting the specialty housing selection when you're running an ad. The ad will fail. There's different things you can do though, to combat some of the restrictions that Facebook has set up for ad campaigns. Selecting different interests for people, and it's really on a by ad basis. So what's important to know is if you're running an ad that's specifically for a listing as compared to you're running just a general ad for your business, they may perform differently. And that also depends on what type of ad spend you're putting behind it. One of the big recommendations that I do have is if you're running an ad to put at least $50 behind it. I mean, we do have clients, depending on their budget, they'll sometimes throw $25 here and there, but essentially the more money that you spend with Facebook, the better your ad is going to perform. That's not to say you need to go crazy and spend thousands of dollars doing it. I mean, I've seen clients get really solid results with even $200 to $250 campaigns. But that's all stuff that, like I said, we can help you with and guide you through that type of process, or utilizing tools online is helpful as well. Okay. Does anyone have any questions before I go to the next slide?
Hello, Emily.
Hi.
Hi, this is Jennifer. Thank you so much again for all this information. I need this so much.
Of course.
Question for you. Going back to what I'm noticing, instead of getting like requests or, on my Facebook business page, they go to my personal page. So how do I redirect them to my business page instead of my personal page?
So, okay, that's a good question. So it may have something to do with how your personal page is labeled. Like, is your personal page just your name, or does it say your business also?
I think it's my business, but I'll double check.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to also, speak with you directly and help you remedy that specific situation. But really, I mean, one of the things too is, I'm sure as everyone knows, real estate is a highly personal business. So like every realtor follows each other, like, everyone's friends. I mean, even my own Facebook is just like, just sold. Like I got this award, like nonstop real estate. So it may be difficult to completely combat people requesting you personally. it's really not negative to have both, to be totally honest with you. It's just, it is negative if you're focusing all of your energy on building up a personal page, because
Okay.
where clients are going to find you is with your Facebook business. Like, you want to really utilize Facebook business to boost your SEO. So that's kind of a case by case business, but I'd be happy to look at your personal Facebook and kind of see how we can finagle that to help you.
That would be great. Thank you so much. We'll talk later then. Thank
Of
you.
course, of course. Does anyone else have any questions at this time? Okay, I can go into the next slide. Okay, so I just touched on ad campaign management. I got a little bit ahead of myself, but what's really interesting with Facebook ad campaigns is the analytics are immense. You can see so much data down to the age, the gender, just really who is engaging with your content. And it's really helpful. I included this down below. Or I think it's actually in my next slide, to do A/B testing in terms of, like, if one ad isn't performing properly, run another ad. We often have clients that will run 2 ads simultaneously with different call to actions. Maybe one is a call button, one is a send message button, one links to a website, which ties into, SEO and everything, to see what's really performing. One of the biggest things too with the ad campaigns is you want to make sure that the ad is engaging, and it's not just you throwing a photo up, and that kind of ties into the best practices, my next slide, for Facebook business success, that you really want to make sure that the branding, the look, the feel is attractive. I mean, I'm sure even you on social media, whether it's real estate or not, if something looks nicer, it's more engaging, you're more apt to click on it. So it's the same type of thing. I think one of the other things specifically for real estate that's important to keep in mind is there's so many agents out there, and there's so many agents trying to run ads, trying to stand out. So it's really important, which ties back into the branding, to have a clear message that is different. Like, you don't want it to, everyone right now is the time to sell. People are seeing that over and over and over again. Like, how are you standing out as an agent? And that's, a part of really coming up with a campaign for yourself. Customer and engagement and communication is, all of these, of course, are tied together, but is a huge part of Facebook business. So you can set up auto responses, you can have customized solutions based on how you want to operate your business. I know a lot of agents like to be available 24/7. Some agents do like to have custom hours that they can be contacted, and set up messaging preferences for that as well. Has anyone played around with this at all, like interacting with their customers on a business page?
No.
No.
I just started a Google business page and a
Okay.
Yelp page. Currently, I'm just asking my sphere to, leave a review or just something about me.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I would suggest doing that also on Facebook. I mean, Facebook, while it has evolved and there's a lot of controversy around Meta, it is a huge hub still. Like, people are drawn to Facebook. Meta owns Instagram. They're tied together. We're in a time right now where you can't really have one without the other. Who knows where we'll be 5-10 years from now with how quickly social media is changing. But because of how heavily Instagram and Facebook are tied together, that's another huge piece of this. You have to have a Facebook business page. So for instance, like when we onboard a client, if we're setting up, let's say they just have an Instagram business account, we can't run ads or we can't track analytics unless it's linked to their Facebook account. We can't even schedule content for them unless they have a business page set up. So that's how intertwined, like, Facebook is really positioning this situation where you have to have both. So, and I mean, it shows in their user base, how many users they have as well. I'm curious, if anyone like has had some hesitancy with setting up a Facebook business page, and if so, why, or like what are your experiences with Facebook? I know it's a loaded question, but I would love to hear what you guys have experienced.
I can tell you for me, it definitely is a loaded question, but I think trying to figure out what you're looking to accomplish, like what your goal is, who you're trying to attract, whether
Yeah.
you're trying to attract clients, team members, buyer leads, seller leads, and then trying to figure out how to do something like exactly like you say, that's different, that's engaging. And I think that's the whole thing, because I've heard that word repeatedly over the last several weeks with what we've been doing, learning about social media, is the engagement factor cannot be undervalued in this whole equation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, engagement is huge. You know, I'll switch to my next slide. We can always go back if we need to, but you know, engaging content strategy. So content is so important. And I find that a lot of people kind of get lost, especially in the day-to-day of real estate. You're busy, everything's hectic. Like, how do you have time to sit down and, you know, create a content calendar? It's very difficult. One of the biggest things, though, that I see as like big no-nos for real estate marketing is, you know, there's a lot of marketing agencies that are pretty cheap, and like they'll just do automatic posting to your Facebook page or to your Instagram page. And, you know, one of the biggest things I like to preface is just because you're posting to post doesn't mean you're going, like, it's not effective for you to just post to post. If you have an agency posting a house that looks like it's in California, but you're based in New Jersey, what good is that doing for your target demographic? Like, it shows that you're just adding fluff to your page. What really makes a difference on Facebook or even Instagram or any platform for that matter is having a content strategy that's not only catered to your demographic, but is authentically you. So, you know, we've had some clients who are quirky and like, you know, like specific things, or we have other clients who really focus on nonprofit organizations, and we have to sit down with them and tailor their marketing strategy to who they really are. Because at the end of the day, like I said, there's a sea of real estate agents. People are going to be attracted to you as an agent because of who you are as a person. Also, it's a relationship business. So, you know, in terms of content strategy, of course, you can mix in the just sold, just closed. But honestly, what gets the most engagement is when you're in the content. And I know that's terrifying for a lot of people, especially with video on the rise and everything, which we can touch on Facebook Reels. Excuse me. But it's really important to be in your content. Does anyone currently do that? Like post content of them? Or of their clients that's not just like just sold, market update, that type of stuff?
I used to do videos. So I have a question for you that we probably have to take offline, because last year, prior to last year, I used to do videos, and I wanted to try to get into the videos and the retargeting and the funnels and everything, but it kind of got, you know, it's over my head. But last year I was actually hacked. And I was hacked and deleted from Facebook. Meta sent me a little email. I tried to sign in one day and it said, you know, you're done, you're out. And I never recovered it. So number one, I guess my first question is, can we recover it? So we'd probably have to talk about that. But to answer your question, yes, I used to do the videos, and I haven't really started. I've done a few, but I haven't really done more because I was still hoping that maybe I can get my old account back.
Yeah, I'm happy to look at that for you. Absolutely, we can take that offline. I'm curious, with the videos you were doing, what was the type of content you were posting in the videos?
Mostly informational. So same thing. So as a realtor, you know, I think all of us, all we see is, you know, just sold, just sold, just sold. And, you know, but I was doing educational. So I don't know, like something that's required, like what's required for a seller to, you know, get their smoke certification or CO, or what type of fire extinguisher do you need to have for, you know, to get the smoke cert. So stuff like that.
Sure, sure. And those videos are great. One of my other big recommendations, though, is to also come away from real estate. Like, you know, people, if you have a content strategy that's planned properly, you're going to mix in the real estate related content, but there's also co-branding opportunities or cross business promotion. So where are the local businesses you frequent? Which businesses that you frequent have a large following? Because often what happens is if you do a video, or even if it's a post where you're tagging a local business, they'll reshare it and you're tapping into their follower base. Which is
That's
huge.
exactly, yeah, you're right. I forgot. Yeah, I did a little bit of that too. So I was starting to get into that, and, you know, because you're right. And I had people saying, oh, you know, you're the person on whatever that did that interview, or, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So you're right. It definitely helps get your,
Absolutely.
like get you exposure. But I do have a question regarding that though. So with
Sure.
video, so let's just not even take real estate, or anything. Like I'm thinking about getting more into investing. So I would click on either a site or a website or something. And then next thing I know, I'm getting all these, like, you know, coaches and whatever on Facebook on my feed, you know, about like investing and coaching and whatever. So
Yeah.
that's all retargeting, right? Like I didn't necessarily sign up for anything, but somehow they know that I clicked on their page.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the great question. That's like honestly a whole monster in itself. So that's based on like geofencing and also retargeting campaigns. It currently is pretty expensive to do that type of advertising. So while it's very impressive, I mean, it's in like for Facebook specifically, there's retargeting campaigns you can do that are cost effective. But like, for instance, you know, I'm on Instagram. I just looked up like shoes on Amazon and now I'm being hit with that same type of style. I'm like, is my phone listening to me? Like those are all geofencing, campaigns that are taking your data and retargeting it, like you just said, which is outside of Facebook. Facebook doesn't really offer the public that type of management. They're trying to get better, but I will say with the rise of AI, there are going to be affordable solutions to, like, pretty soon every business is going to be able to do those campaigns because it's so cost effective. And whether we like it or not, our data is going to be tracked by AI. I mean, it already is. So that's definitely something to look forward to in the future in terms of a cost-effective solution too. I know that was kind of a long-winded answer, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Of
How does
course.
it work with Facebook and funnels then? Do we need to have our own website? So if I kind of what we were talking about, like if you're doing an informational video, because, you know, we'll sit on all these coaching courses and everything, and they're like, oh, just do a funnel and do a video and have it go down to like somehow have Facebook retarget and retarget and retarget. Is that something that your company does, or?
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. So, you know, what we do is usually we assess everything that you're doing, like whether you're working with us just on social media, you're working with us on mailers, you know, billboards, whatever. We look at everything as a marketing campaign, and how can we, because it's all linked together. You know, if everything isn't cohesive, it doesn't come full circle. We need to fix that because we want to make sure you're using your marketing dollars efficiently. So we start there. We look at your branding. One of the biggest things too, and I know I keep coming back to the branding, but I have some clients or, you know, people that contact us and they say, can I just run an ad campaign to get some leads? And the issue with that is if you just run leads and you have no branding to back it, or you have, you know, a Facebook page that hasn't been touched, it's inactive, but you're trying to get leads through Facebook, people do their due diligence. So, you know, a lot of times people will click an ad, they'll see if the business is legitimate or if it's something that they want to pursue. And then they'll either decide, no, you know, what I found does not support that. Or they'll continue with, contacting you and following the call to action. So it's really important. Like it honestly is a waste of money to be running ads without solid branding and having a content plan, because it all feeds into that. I mean, all of these platforms, the more you use them, the more they like you, especially Google. And I know this isn't a Google seminar, but it's important to remember that. So the more that you're posting to Facebook, but having content that has purpose, because Facebook is also weighing what's the engagement, like, is this getting any traction? Who's viewing this? What's the reach? The more you love it, the more it loves you, basically. Does anyone have any questions about that? Rich, do you have a question? Is that your hand up?
Yeah, that's me. Quick question. So, all right, like I said, I started a Google page, and if you just search my name, obviously a bunch of Richard Aguilars pop up, but what comes to the front is a reel I did on Instagram.
Okay.
But just realizing that they're both part of the Meta, doing a reel on just my regular Facebook page or my business page, would that jump up there as well? Just
Yes.
like if I made a video on YouTube, it would pop up there automatically as one of the top searches.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it also feeds into how you're hashtagging things. But yeah. So right now, when you did the reel on do you have a Facebook business page set up?
I do not yet.
Okay. Okay. So I would definitely do that, because essentially when you post something to your business Instagram, it's just going to feed, like, Meta has it set up that reel will automatically populate on your business page. So the engagements will be linked. You can run a campaign with that video as well. So definitely do that for SEO purposes.
Cool. Thanks.
Of course.
And Emily, can I ask real quick along those same lines, were you saying that if you only have the Instagram without the Facebook business page, you couldn't track the analytics on the traction that the Instagram reel is getting? Is that correct?
So Instagram actually won't let you set up a business page unless it's tied to a Facebook page.
Okay.
Now, like, there are some situations where we've had clients create a dummy Facebook page, but honestly, I don't recommend doing that, because why not have that extra traction and set it up for future use? A lot of agents, though, have personal Instagram pages, and they're one of the biggest reasons, which is kind of funny, but it is annoying, is because of music, like adding music to reels, adding music to stories. So when you become a business page, you're very limited in terms of what music you can use. Has anyone experienced this issue with their profile?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's a pain in the
Yeah.
butt. It's really
Me too.
annoying. Yeah,
It's
so
boring. There's boring songs on there, right?
I
They're not the
know.
same.
I know. The only thing that's really great is they're starting to come around with the original audio section. Like, that's becoming trending audio. But yeah, I mean, it's something that, honestly, personal opinions of like, at being an agency that's seen how Meta has evolved, they are very chaotic and unorganized. Like, things that, ideally, if they're owning Instagram and they're integrating all of Meta's features into Instagram, they should be totally fluid, but they're not. So we're kind of in the stage right now where we're dealing with, like, them trying to fix their mess, and they're constantly working through issues as a platform. So I'm hopeful that, it makes no sense why they don't allow music. I know the main reason is for copyright purposes, because if businesses are using audio, then they come into a copyright issue. Whereas if a personal account is using audio, they don't. So it's really, the reason why that's set up the way it is to cover themselves currently. Which doesn't make it less frustrating, but that's why. So yeah, I mean, I feel I've been jumping around, so I would love to answer more questions if you have some, but I can go back to A/B testing, customer engagement, or if there's specific topics you guys want us to touch on. And also, I really appreciate the interaction, because sometimes I do these and everyone's so quiet. So
Hi, how
I
are
have a
you?
question.
Oh, hi, Sarah.
sorry.
Hi, guys, how are you?
hi.
So I do create my videos on TikTok and then I'll share them on Instagram and Facebook. But what I noticed that Facebook does not like TikTok. So what I do, I save my video on my album, my picture album, and then I upload it on Facebook because I noticed whenever I uploaded it straight from TikTok, they went and they said something like copyright and they took it out actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's totally fine. I mean, do you do it via screen recording? That's how you save it to your album?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect then.
And you know what's sad? I really like when I upload from TikTok because when people see my video on Instagram, it kind of drives them to my TikTok. So I gain more followers. But with Instagram, they're only watching a video. It doesn't drive them to my TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, what's hard, being agents too, is there's so many platforms. Like, yeah, how do you even manage what you should be doing? And realistically, honestly, like, TikTok is great. It requires a lot of consistency and honestly a separate campaign. Like, you can obviously have videos be on multiple platforms, the same content, but TikTok is a whole other conversation and very tough to deal with. But you've had success with it, Sarah?
Yes. It's been really great, but somebody told me that if I do remove the watermark, I will have better chance of boosting my videos on Instagram. Is that true?
Probably. Yeah. So, I mean, TikTok is kind of like the social media island that everyone doesn't really know what's happening with, like in terms of how Instagram and Facebook view it.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, there are videos that are created on TikTok and have the watermark are optimized to perform best on TikTok. So there's so many back-end analytics. So if you screen record it like that, you shouldn't have a problem.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
and the videos that I do create, they're sometimes I'm in it, but I don't really talk. I have like the voice go over it.
Yeah.
And some of them I did interview moms and pops shops owners in my neighborhood. Those were really good. But then I got lazy.
saw those. Those were great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
you did a great job. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
It has to do with my Facebook business account. When I run ads, something pops up that says your Meta Pixel is not active. I don't even know how to activate it.
Yes. Oh, the Pixel. Yeah, so this is something I can send over specific information to how to troubleshoot that, but basically your Pixel usually is linked and embedded to a website that you have, and it allows conversion for you. So that's something that I can send to you. If you want to put, I mean, I don't know, Deanna, how do you usually do this? Like, should I just provide my information in the chat at the end and then we can do it that way?
Yeah, you can definitely do that, or anything that you want to send to me as well. I can make sure that we share out, including your contact information. And also too, to mention, I think most of the people here are EXP and they have KV Core accounts. So one of the things that you can do is use that Pixel and link it from within the KV Core. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's great. I mean, KV Core is phenomenal. So that's something that I can send over specific instructions for how to troubleshoot that specifically for KV Core. So I'd be happy to help with that.
All right, thank you. And I had another question. It's different. It's on Instagram. I don't have an Instagram account. I want to open an Instagram account, but I heard that there's 3 accounts: the individual, the business, and then there's a creator account.
Yeah.
And they told me that the creator account is better to open, and because of the music and the content, like you can be more creative with the creator account as opposed to if you open a business account first.
Yeah, so you certainly can have a creator account, and it is a little more flexibility like with the music, but the other functions aren't tremendously different. The only problem is Facebook aka Meta, does not recognize that as an account. So like they won't link together in terms of having issues with that. So creator accounts are really designed more for like influencers, those types of like athlete personas where they're not necessarily like utilizing a Facebook business page for an actual business. They're more for like an individual, truly like creator person in today's world, if that makes sense. So, I mean, honestly, though, I do have people that we work with that have creator accounts. It's just you don't have the ability to get the analytics, the ads, and everything like that. So hopefully in a perfect world, they'll have the creator and business basically the same. And it's really just based on your preference in the future.
Okay. But if I were to have a creator account and I post something, I could take that post and post it on my Facebook page?
You could, yeah, they just wouldn't be linked. So one of the nice features, and I'm not sure if anyone's explored this yet, but within Facebook and Instagram, you can actually schedule content within the apps itself now. Facebook, you've been able to do that for a while, but Instagram also recently integrated that. So when talking about a content strategy, that's huge. I mean, as a company, we have content planned out a month and a half to 2 months in advance. That you definitely don't have to do that. But you know, even 2 weeks in advance would help you. And then that way you have like your check-in 2 times a month where you're saying, okay, I'm going to focus on my social media content.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. The other thing I wanted to touch on about content in terms of the types of content you should be posting, one of the biggest avenues to focus on is humor. Being a I mean, life is funny just in general, but being a real estate agent, I'm sure you guys have experienced crazy situations, crazy people, you know, interactions with other agents that are ridiculous. There's so much to poke fun at. And obviously, you know, you have to stay true to your moral compass and what you feel comfortable with. And, you know, you don't want to ever post anything like offensive. But it performs so well. So I highly recommend, like, even looking at Pinterest, looking at hashtag real estate memes on social media to get inspiration and incorporating that into your content strategy is very helpful and will get great engagement.
I totally agree with you, but please, you guys, do not make fun of your clients because nobody else will hire you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, so there's a few like areas, you know, you don't want to make fun of your clients. I mean, especially if it's like there's been some things like that there's a safe space. Like you can poke fun at like dealing with just people in general in real estate, but you never want to be like very specific about a one client. Also stay away from politics. Not a good area to incorporate into your marketing. Really just any, you know, we live in a time right now where everything, not everything, but just a lot can be controversial. So definitely stay away from like hot topics that could cause explosions. You know, I'm sure you have seen on Facebook, people love to start wars and have comment, you know, battles. So, but humor is huge, but yes, definitely, Sarah, you don't want to be making fun of people and like making them cry and not wanting to work with you.
Along those lines of content, Emily, what do you think of things like polls or, you know, getting people to comment or giveaways, those types of things in terms of, again, getting people to comment and respond and spark communication?
Yeah, polls are fantastic, especially to utilize on stories. And that's something. So one of the things that is also annoying about Facebook and Instagram being connected is, I'm sure you may have seen like some of the features on Instagram do not carry over to Facebook. So like if you run a poll on Instagram, it may not translate to that Facebook story, which I'm hoping that's something that they fix. But I mean, it's fantastic for engagement. The more interactive you are, and honestly, like do a poll, like I said, I would say, you know, in terms of your content strategy, there's ways to divide it in terms of like 25% being about your business, 25% being about the community, 25% being personal to you. And then, the other 25% being true to like your branding. So I had mentioned, a good example is, we have one client that's heavily involved in investing, and he's been repositioning his marketing plan over the last year to incorporate videos that are targeting not just clients, but investors, giving tips about rehabs, how to flip homes. And then, he's mixing in his family life, which like as an agency, what we do is we compile those photos for people. So we're, he's posting about his family, and because we know him so well, it seems like he's posting it, but it's actually us posting that content, because we're trying to make sure that his content plan throughout the month is touching on all of those different themes. So interactive content is great, like asking people, how they feel about something, whether it's tied to real estate or not tied to real estate. Like one of the most popular areas is food. Like people love to see good food. They love to find out where you're eating. So, and that's also, you cover two areas. You're targeting a local business, you're getting engagement, they'll probably reshare it. It's also, it makes your account desirable. Like one of the things too that's important to remember is there's so many accounts out there. Like why would someone want to follow your account? So I know it can be overwhelming, but there's a lot to navigate, and that's one of the most important things to remember. Like you want to post shareable content that covers one of those different themes that I mentioned, that people will enjoy. And, it's not boring. It's not stale. It's not just that house in California or, consistently like a random stat about buyers or sellers, like something that truly is engaging with people. And, one of the biggest ways to do that is through video now. But depending on your budget, you can achieve similar goals without, focusing so heavily on video.
Emily?
Yeah.
I caught myself doing something, and thank God, I stopped. So I noticed that I was following way too many agents on Instagram, way too many agents on Facebook, and I kind of like got away or forgot that I'm supposed to be posting and following people to generate leads.
Yeah.
So now I kind of like directed my Instagram in a way of, I do follow agents, a lot of agents, and I want them to follow me to kind of like attract them to my company. But Facebook, I'm more like, I have a homework every day. I designate at least 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night to just like and comment on regular people's posts.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there's a few things there. One of the things with EXP is obviously you want to attract agents, in terms of being able to have those benefits as well. So that's something with having a content strategy. In terms of your content, you should be mixing that in. So, that adds another layer, like because, I want to target clients, but I also want to attract, bring agents to the company, as you mentioned, Sarah. That's something that's really common. I had mentioned before, just because we're so heavily involved in real estate, I even see on my clients' accounts, like all of their friends are realtors, and that's great. But, you're really probably not going to have a realtor be like, oh, I know someone who wants to sell their home. Like they're going to take that for themselves.
100%. How funny is that?
Yeah. So, one of the, Instagram is a lot easier with gaining followers, and I can talk about geo-targeting in a second. Facebook, one of the best way, just consistently, you can friend people based on. One of the best ways to initially go about it is community groups. So I don't know how many of you participate in Facebook groups. There's all different ones. Like, if you have dogs, there's a Facebook, local group about dogs. There's community groups for specific towns. That's a great way to make connections and to start to build likes. So, the reason why it's important to have a personal page and a business page is because ideally someone's going to friend you on your personal page. You invite them to like your business page. And On Instagram, it's way easier. One of my biggest tips is usually, and we do this for clients, we'll go to their businesses that they engage with, will go to specific content that has really good engagement for that business. So let's say it's a post that has 90 likes. We will follow those people. Has anyone done this before where you just follow people to try and boost your followers?
Yes.
Okay.
Me.
So this is a little bit different because it's geo-targeted. So you're going to follow those people that are engaging with that local business. Let's say it's a local sandwich shop, because you know they're active users on Instagram. A lot of the time, a business that has followers, like, more than 30 to 40% are when I say inactive, like they're just not frequently on Instagram. So you're following people that are actively engaging with content. And then there's actually apps you can utilize that allow you to filter through who's following you back. Now, I know this sounds like a rigorous process, and this is why, people have us do it, because who has time to do this constant process, but it's something you can actually do. So usually what I say is have a 3-day period where you work on geo-targeting followers that are based in your demographic, where you want to get business. And then 4 days pass, and then use the app to remove people that don't follow you back.
Oh my God, Emily, I've done that once. Jean had recommended that I have too many followers and I was following too many people. So I went and I did purchase that app to kind of filter through my followers.
Okay.
I think I deleted, I don't know how many hundreds I deleted in one day. They went and they froze my account for 10 days.
Yeah. So that's one of the things too, that's why I usually say you have to do it through a 4-day window, because if you constantly hit it, Instagram thinks that you're purchasing followers or doing something that doesn't abide by their community terms. So you have to do it. Don't do it immediately. You don't want to go through, that was the next point I was going to say, and follow 1,000 people. The app actually won't let you, it will glitch if you try and do that. So do it in spurts, just like you wouldn't want, a bunch of Google reviews at the same time, or a bunch of Zillow reviews. Do it 100 to 200 followers at a time.
You are saying jewels. You're dropping jewels. And by the way, aren't we supposed to go to lunch?
Yes. Yeah, we can go to lunch.
We're way overdue.
We are overdue. We are overdue.
Yes.
Does anyone have any other questions? Really we've touched on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm happy, if it's okay with you, Deanna, I'm happy to answer really anything anyone wants to talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly what I love, is that people are coming to this, that they've been working, they've had their toe in this water and are trying to figure things out. So getting your expertise is awesome.
I'm so happy.
How about in
I
terms
really
of
love everything you do, Emily. We see the Leader's Edge, all the promoting and the notification that we get. We love it. Very, very nice. Thank you.
You.
Yeah, and again, to your point, branding is key, and being consistent. You see that with Leader's Edge too, because Emily and her staff, her team, handle all of that as well. In terms of if you're just trying to build out your time and just mentally have sort of a pathway, how do you go into Facebook, into your business page, and create the posts and then push them out to Instagram and then share them to your personal page? What's the actual sort of flow if you were taking somebody through the process? Because I think sometimes we say, okay, I'm going to devote time and energy to this, but now where do I start? What's the process look like?
Sure, that's a great question. So while Instagram and Facebook do have in-app scheduling, you have to do it within each platform. And there's just it's so new for Instagram specifically that I honestly would recommend utilizing a platform like a Hootsuite, or this is something I can send via email. If you want to actively manage your own content and you're doing that, there are scheduling platforms that are relatively inexpensive, because realistically, you're probably going to have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. Hootsuite does integrate with. but your Mac's gonna have what, like 4 profiles that you're posting to. So having a software that you can schedule through is the first step. Just for consistency. I mean, if that's something that doesn't seem realistic, like you can literally just one of the easiest ways is post to Instagram. It goes right to Facebook, and have that sort of schedule where, you know, we have people that if they're managing it on their own, they have reminders on their phone, like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 9 a.m. My post that's prepped is going up. But it's really nice to have a scheduling software. You just kind of set it and forget it. Like you do the work. It's the same way that you budget time, you know, for cold calling or your CRM or anything like that. Like social media has to be a part of your schedule. It just has to be now with how the industry is evolving. So that's the first step, finding your scheduling software. But, you know, once you have that set, then you want to develop a content plan. So I really would recommend, like, even if you don't have the content created, having the month planned out. So like we're entering June. Are there any holidays we want to acknowledge? Where is the market currently at? Are there stats you can pull from MLS? You know, home maintenance tips for summer, like just, you know, reminders like that. Also, 4th of July is coming up. So maybe for the end of June, you could do a fireworks schedule, like thinking about all of these ideas and creating a content calendar. Now, in terms of posting, at the minimum, I recommend posting 3 times a week. So usually a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule is great. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I just say to space it out because from an engagement standpoint and making sure people see your content on the algorithm, that's beneficial. And then, you know, in between those actual posts that you're doing, you can be hitting stories every day. I definitely think what's really important though is to be realistic with yourself, because, you know, we have clients that we're even doing this for, we give them exactly what they need to do, but then life, you know, takes control, and holding yourself accountable and being realistic. Okay, like maybe for right now, 2 posts is realistic for me. But you're still planning out your content. You're still really working towards those goals, like setting little milestones for yourself, because it's going to be overwhelming to be like, how do I accomplish all of this at one time?
I love
Another
the
question.
planning idea. Yeah.
When
Who was
the best time to post?
That's a good question. So it really depends on your account. So like when we onboard a client, we're looking at their analytics. We're seeing when their followers, because every follower base is different. Like for instance, if you have someone in finance, like usually their followers are mostly engaged on their commute. So like in the morning or in the evening, because they're on the train, they're on the bus, whatever. So usually monitoring, and this is something you can do within the app, like whether it's Instagram or Facebook, you can kind of see your demographic and when the users are most frequently looking at content. I would say like across the board, those sweet spots are early in the morning. So, you know, 7 to 9 a.m. Usually for Reels specifically, if you post in that window, you know, don't quote me on it. It doesn't always happen and it's frustrating, but usually it'll hit pretty well during that time or late at night. Like, I mean, just think about like as a user, when you're on your phone, like you're in the morning, you're looking at emails, you go through social media really quick, you're having coffee. At night, you're laying on the couch, you're watching TV. So and also, I mean, sometimes lunchtime, but I would say early morning, later at night, like even in the 9 to 10 time frame, can perform really well.
Thank you.
Well, of course, it's basically when people are creeping on social media.
Anybody else have any questions for Emily having to do with Facebook, with
I have one last question. I don't know if you guys can hear me because I'm driving. Are stories better than posts?
They're both essential, long story short. So stories are critical though. So like, we recently revamped our plans that we're offering to customers, and none of those plans don't include stories because you have to be posting on stories. So like as a user, people typically when they go on Instagram, they go to their stories first. Not everyone does that, but they'll click through the stories, then they'll scroll through the feed. And that's just the user experience, kind of how the app is designed. So, I would recommend, like, there's accounts that actively post to stories multiple times a day, and they only do the 3 posts per week, and they're gaining followers because of how those stories are engaging. So I would say they're both really important because, if you post stories, but you don't have a nice branded account and you're not posting any content, you're really not going to get much engagement on those stories. Does that make sense?
Oh,
It
she's
does,
driving
thank
me.
you. It does, thank you.
So Emily, whenever I'm stuck and I have nothing to post, thank God for Chris Walsh. I'll just go to his page and I share his videos.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we actually do Chris's stuff. And
You're kidding. Oh
yeah.
my God, I love it. Super professional. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Chris has a lot of talking about content themes. We have a lot of things we need to check off with his content, but his content, thank you. His content is really fun to manage. And that's another great tip, Sarah, honestly. Like, if you don't have content yourself, you can always repurpose content. With that said, though, like, the designer in me and the creator in me, like, it should be branded to you. But if you want to post a video to your story, like, let's say that, I'm not sure if any of you follow dog accounts. Maybe that's just me because I have 5, but like I have a bunch of fun dog reels or like dogs, doing funny things. Like that's engaging content that you'll get a response to if you're posting it on your story. If a new business posts something that's a great reel, share it to your story, tag them, they'll reshare you. So like, you don't always have to be like, oh my gosh, I have all of this content I have to create. How am I going to do this? There's ways around that. Definitely.
Hey, Emily, I got one question for you.
Go ahead, Jim.
I've been dealing with some Wi-Fi connection issues, so it's going to bring you back a couple of questions back. But as far as like managing your accounts through Instagram and Facebook, you mentioned different kinds of like suites and managing companies or websites. Are any of those better as opposed to just using Meta Business Suite? Because that's kind of what I use already.
So if you already have Meta Business Suite set up, that's great. I will say, like, so we use Hootsuite Enterprise, which, none of you need. It's because of the volume that we're dealing with content scheduling, but these softwares provide extensive analytics. So it goes above and beyond what Meta can provide. I'm confident though, like within the next year to 2 years, Meta's analytics are only going to get better, but that is one of the advantages. Like if you are a super analytic focused person and you want to see how each post is performing, outside of just like reach and engagement and stuff like that's really what those softwares are really helpful for.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. The other thing too, I want to mention really quick, I know we're down to the minute, is a lot of these softwares now too, and I know you're probably going to have a session on AI. We as a company are working actively with AI because that's where the future is going, honestly. But a lot of these softwares, and you're going to see a lot of these platforms integrate AI over the next year or 2 years. Like Hootsuite itself integrates AI in terms of caption copywriting. It's an incredible tool that can help you create content plans. Which I'm not going to talk about AI because I know that's another session, but I'm happy to in the future if you ever need more explanation, Deanna, about that.
Let's not put us over the edge in one day, right?
Yeah, seriously, yeah. So Facebook wrapped up, like I said, I'm happy to, let me go back to the first slide. This is my company's contact information here. So this phone number is a call to text phone number. So you can text this, myself and my team get all of this. My team is aware that I was doing this seminar, so I will make sure that you guys are pointed in the right place if you do have any questions and need to reach out.
Awesome. Emily, thank you so much for all of this information. Emily, if you are not just in the business of needing some help with how your business looks in its social media profile, but maybe even stepping it back a bit and getting to the point of really doing a better job of consistent branding and wanting to find some inspiration on your branding, she's phenomenal with that. So a great resource to add to your Rolodex. And if you can utilize her services, please reach out. Emily, thank you so much for sharing your information today. We really appreciate it seems like every week my homework schedule just
No, thank you so much for
Right.
having me. And thank you everyone for being interactive. I really appreciate it. And that's the best way that I can give value too. So I hope everyone has a great day. Happy Memorial Day weekend. And it was great meeting everyone.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You too, Emily.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for your questions and participation. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.